Hello, beautiful lashies and fellow listeners. You have reached the Live, Love, and Lash podcast, and I'm Catherine, your host. And today's episode, we are going to discuss how you set yourself apart from the other lash artists out there. And this is a lot about branding, and it's also about figuring out who you are, what you want, and how you want to show up in the world. So, oftentimes you'll go on like Canva or some of the other apps where you can create your content, and you'll see like a brand kit or brand templates or stuff like that. And these are great options, but if you don't have a vision in mind, you're just kind of shooting in the dark. So you don't really know if the colors, the fonts, and the templates that you're going to be using are actually going to be working in your favor, or if they're just going to be just aesthetically pleasing, which there's nothing wrong with having something that's aesthetically pleasing. However, it might not be what your ideal client is really looking for. And so, in all of the self-education that I've been doing recently, I've been learning a lot about how to actually market yourself, how to market your brand, and how to make everything cohesive with the message that you're actually trying to put out there. So, let's dive in. So, on Canva, let me see if I can actually share my screen. Actually, I'll do that on another time. So for those of you who are listening versus watching on YouTube, you can't necessarily see what I have on, but you'll see on my Facebook page, on my Instagram page, I always have my signature teal glasses, and then I usually also have a couple of other signature teal pieces. So like today I have a silicone ring on my right hand. It is my right hand, it's not my left hand. I'm not dating, I am single, for those of you who are inquiring. So I also have a teal hair clip that I'll use. And then my phone also has a teal color. My room has the teal color. And the meaning behind that, like minty blue, I call it more of like a minty blue. The reason behind the minty blue is so the glasses were the first thing. I was dating this guy and he had suggested that I get these mint glasses. And I got them and thinking, oh, I don't know. I usually just wear black frames and they are prescription. So it's not like a gimmicky thing. They and I was on Zenni, which is one of those prescription glasses and sunglasses websites that you can get like cheap frames. I think these were like $30, which is amazing. And because this is actually my third pair. The frames themselves, they are plastic. They're not like the best quality. The lenses are good. They're again not the best quality. You can get better quality, but I'm also cheap. So, with that being said, I have a few like signature apparel accessories that I use to allow people to identify me and my brand. Now, let's dive into the brand. So, I've done an episode on the Live Love Lash brand, and the brand itself is based on the framework of courage, consistency, and confidence. And why this came about is because as a kid, and even up until about a year or so ago, I felt like I did not have the confidence to really put myself out there the way that I have been. But I was being courageous in the actions that I was choosing. And throughout the years, I've had clients, family members, friends, strangers say, wow, you're so brave, you're so courageous to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm just thinking like this is just like my normal day activities. Why would this be brave? Why would this be considered courageous? But then I took a step back and I tried to take a look at it from an outsider's perspective and look at their lifestyle versus my lifestyle. And I really got to thinking and realizing that, yeah, the things that I do are courageous because somebody who doesn't go traveling, somebody who doesn't do scuba diving, somebody who doesn't own their own business, all those things are scary. And it is scary to do things, especially on your own. And, being a solo entrepreneur and solo business owner, it is very difficult. It is very courageous to take those steps and be in the unknown of, well, am I going to have enough clients to pay my bills this month? I don't know. Versus working for somebody and having a biweekly paycheck that is quote unquote guaranteed. Now, that being said, there are no guarantees in life. And this is something that I have learned from Grant Cardone, who is one of my mentors. And he talks a lot about how there are no guarantees in life. You can get a job, a quote unquote stable job with a company, but they could go out of business tomorrow. Or you've been working for somebody for X amount of years and you get let go. He told this story that one of his clients worked for Tesla for almost 20 years. And he found out that he was let go he tried to log into his portal to get his emails and sign in for work and, check in, clock in for his shift, and he couldn't log in. So he contacted tech support, and tech support actually told him, did you get an email? And he's like, well, no, I can't log in, so I can't check my emails. And they're like, oh, well, did you get anything to your personal email? He's like, no. A few hours later, sure enough, there's the email that says, thank you so much for your time with us. We're letting you go. Here's your severance package. For somebody who has dedicated 20 years of their life to a company, to be let go like that is devastating. So again, there are no guarantees in life. What you have today, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So take that into consideration, working for somebody or working for yourself. You have to choose your hard. Working for somebody's hard because you have to abide by what they dictate for their business, whether that be your apparel, so your uniform, or how you greet people, or if you have a specific script that you're supposed to use or a protocol. Those are all things that they have set into place for a reason, but you have to follow. That can be hard, especially if you are an independent mind like I am. Following somebody else's rules isn't necessarily what you want to be doing, but you have to if you want to keep your job. Then working for yourself is also very hard because you have to be the one to hold yourself accountable for doing all the things that you need to do every single day to keep your business running. Whether or not you're open, you're working. You're doing social media, you're doing cold calls, you're doing reach outs, you're trying to find new clients and new business so that way you can continue to work throughout the day and have your books stacked to make the income levels that you would have been making if you were working for somebody else. Granted, being independent, you are typically making more per hour when you're doing the service. However, you still have to take into account all the other times that you're working. So I looked at like my paycheck, and I don't actually get a paycheck, but I get paid right then and there after each service. if you broke it down, I actually make less working for myself currently than I did working for somebody else. But there's a lot of give and take with that. You get the freedom of setting your own schedule. You get the freedom of not having somebody telling you what to do every single day. But I dictate my schedule. So I book all my own appointments. I schedule every single day. I work 7 days a week, but I'm not working on clients all day. I'll take max 5 people in a day. And the reason I choose that is because it allows me the freedom to do all the other things that I want to do in my free time and spare time. So, like this morning, I woke up, I read a little bit, I did my social media. Later, I'm going to go to lunch with a client. I'm going to go to the gym and work out, and then I'm going to do some more filming. And I get to do this podcast. If I weren't, if I were working for somebody else, I wouldn't necessarily have the availability to do all of those things. I'd be working a 9 to 5 job, 40 hours a week or more, working for somebody else, making them rich. And I would much rather make myself rich. So, how do we get from working for somebody else to working for ourselves? That's what the Live, Love, and Lash brand is going to start building. We're going to start helping you bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be. So that way you can do it a lot faster than I ever did, because it has taken me so I've been my own boss since 2017. It's taken me this long to really get focused and really dive full in and be fully committed into my business to get serious about the growth of the business. And I'm starting to see some change. I'm starting to see a shift. However, it's not fast enough. And again, that's why I've started doing this shift in my education. I'm learning a lot more in the lash industry by watching Maddie Morris. She's one of my lash mentors. She owns Light Heart Lash. She has a podcast called My Lash Two Brain Cells. It's her and her husband Elliot, and they are so funny. They're so informative. I love their energy. I love every bit of information that they give out. And they just recently launched a series on like the basics, which is exactly what I'm doing. I want to teach people to go back to the basic things, because if you're not strong and mastering the foundation of lashing, you're not going to be able to grow in the other areas. And the reason you can't do that is because you're not mastering those basic things like isolation, like understanding how your adhesive actually works. So that way it's not working against you and it's working for you. Like under eye taping, like placing a lash, like making your own fans, all of these things. If you haven't mastered these things and haven't mastered the application process, people aren't going to want to continue to come to you because your service isn't exceptional. Your service is just average. And if you're wanting to charge $100 or more for a fill, or $200-300 for a full set, people aren't going to want to come to you because you haven't mastered it. And while you call yourself, or you might call yourself, a master lash artist, that title isn't supposed to be taken lightly. By getting 2, 3, 4, 5 certifications, that doesn't make you a master. That's great on paper, but if you haven't done the work to truly master each individual piece of lashing, you're not a master. And I don't say that to be mean. I don't say that to be critical or to criticize those who do get a bunch of certifications. I'm saying that for your benefit. I'm saying that because I did that. I have all these certifications and different things, and it doesn't do me any good. It truly doesn't. I don't advertise that I have X certified in lashes or all of these different certifications in massage therapy because I'm not a master. if you have all your fingers in different parts of lashing, like doing different styles, like anime lashes, mega volume lashes, Kim K strip lash styles, if you haven't fully mastered each of those styles, you're not a master. You're not a master lash artist. Again, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, I don't say this to be mean. I say this because I care about you and about your business, and I want to see you grow. And by just doing these styles so that way you can have a diverse portfolio, that's great. That's amazing. But if you're not truly mapping properly on your clients, you and actually taking notes on it and making sure that you do the same thing every single time, your clients aren't going to be 100% satisfied. And you want your clients to be 100% satisfied so that they can continue to love the service that you provide. And again, I say this because I have done this. I, for a long time, haven't kept records on what I did for each client, partly because my habits were not incongruent or in alignment with how I wanted my business to be portrayed. So going forward, all that's going to change. I'm going to cleanse every single client every single time. I'm going to do this because it sets me apart again from the lash tech to a lash artist. I want to make sure that anything and everything that I'm doing for a client every single time is the same. Doesn't matter if it's one client to the next or one client from appointment to appointment. I want to make sure that the process that I'm doing is duplicatable by myself as well as my future students, because that is the direction I'm going. I want my clients and my fellow students to be able to duplicate what I'm doing to make it easier so that they can take the guesswork out of it. They don't have to think about what am I going to do next? What am I going to do for this client when they come in? These are the things that set your brand and your service apart from the 80 other lash artists that are down the street. And if you're in a small town, that number might be a lot smaller. But if you're here in Phoenix or if you're in a large metropolis area, that number is pretty accurate. Everybody and their mom is doing lashes. So, how do we set your business apart? First, you want to identify your ideal client. Who is it that you want to see in your chair or on your table? Are they age range 18 to 35? Are they age range 30 to 60? That's important because the vibes that you put out is going to be different. If you're wanting to get a younger crowd, you're probably going to want an atmosphere that's a little bit younger, more youthful. If you want an older population in your chair, you're going to want something that's a little more timeless, a little bit more elegant. You're going to want to dress a little bit nicer. You're going to want to maybe charge a little bit more, and you're going to want to make sure that your protocol is the same. You're going to want to make sure your intake is the same, and you're going to want to make sure that all the things that you're asking and doing are a little bit above par because those clients have a higher expectation for the services that they're receiving. And that's not to say that they're bougie. That's not to say that they are high maintenance, which we all know in this lash industry, some of our lash clients can be high maintenance, but those are great clients usually. If you're able to provide a service that the 80 other lash artists can't, they're going to keep coming back to you, especially if they like you, they like what you're doing, and you're consistent. That consistency is super, super important because they want to know that they're going to get the same thing every single time. So, how do we set you apart? How you dress, how you speak, your environment. Like my environment is kind of beachy. I will be eventually revamping my space to be more cohesive with more of an elegant style rather than just kind of thrown together with what I had. it was a last minute decision to get this space, and I got what I had and I put it in there. It doesn't match. I have my back bar products just kind of all over the place. I have my lash products that I sell just kind of thrown on a shelf in the corner. It's not cohesive. It's not what I want it to look like. So there will be a rebranding process for my room as well. But how you set yourself apart is so crucial for the clients that you actually get in your chair. Or for my case, if you're wanting to be an educator, the type of students that you're getting. So getting the clients is all about how you market yourself. It's all about how you are viewed. So how do you want clients to feel when they come to your Facebook or Instagram page or Pinterest or whatever social media platform that you're using? If you have a website or if you have an online booking system, how easy is it for people to book with you? If it's difficult for people to find how to book with you, they're probably not going to book with you. Make it easy. If it's easy, people are going to be more inclined to schedule with you. How is your intake process? Is it, okay, hop on my table, let's get going? They're not going to feel very confident that you're going to give them the same thing every single time if you're not doing mapping, if you're not doing a consultation, if you don't have an intake form. All of these things are so important for the intake process to provide trust and confidence for your clients that you know what you're doing. If you don't do these things and you just have them hop on your table, they might not feel like you're going to be able to provide the same look and the same service every single time. So some questions you might ask, I did go over in a previous podcast episode. So definitely take a check on that episode if you're curious about what to ask or what to have on your intake form. There are also templates on Canva. If you don't know what type of things to have on your intake form, you can just type in Canva lash extension intake form or notes. If you don't know how to take notes, there are apps out there. You can also get a template from Canva. They have templates on there for lash mapping. Those are both great tools to save you a lot of time from having to create your own. And with templates, you can also customize them a little bit. So if you want to change the color, if you want to put your logo on there, you can do all those things. So now let's jump back to the branding kit itself. So Canva is really great. It actually helps you with creating your whole mood. And one of the things that I learned recently was how to create a mood board. It's a lot more difficult than it sounds. You could do a very basic one, go to Pinterest, type in whatever theme you were wanting to have for your business. So for mine is more of a beach theme. So I looked up beach, ocean, photo shoots for the ocean, and I got, ocean themed makeup. I got beach photos. I got starfish. I got ocean waves, all great things, but this doesn't talk about what service you provide. So then I typed in lash extensions and all kinds of stuff came up. And then I typed in ocean themed lashes. And then it came up with lash sets that had a few pops of blue or like a turquoise color lash or like the little stars or shells or whatever like that you can stick on or glue on to the lashes as a little accent piece. Again, these are great. I don't necessarily offer those specific things, so that wouldn't necessarily be ideal for my mood brand. However, it helps people see what it is that you're going for, what it is that you're offering. And then with that, you also want to include who your ideal client is, what kind of aesthetic you want to have, graphic design for ocean themed. So you'll have different ocean accent pieces, or the vibe that you're going for is like if you want more of a chill, relaxed aesthetic, you might have like beach themed uh appliances or accent pieces or furniture. And that isn't necessarily the direction I'm going, even though that's currently the aesthetic that I have. I'm thinking more beach elegance. So nice furniture, not wood particle board thrown together stuff. And that, again, that's currently what I have. So I'm gonna have to make a shift there to draw in those higher paying clients to make that aesthetic fit the mood board, to make it fit the brand, to make it fit the client. And so with the client pieces that I have, my brand for lash extensions is the lifestyle lash. It fits every lifestyle, whether you are an active entrepreneur, busy woman who doesn't have a whole lot of time for a morning routine. Lash extensions, these lash extensions are a great option. It helps to speed up your morning routine, your evening routine. You don't have to worry about them throughout the day. You don't have to worry about your mascara running or smearing if you're sweaty. You can go to the gym, you can go to the beach, you can go rock climbing, you can go for a hike, and they're not going to change. It's not going to affect how the lashes look, how they feel, as long as you're taking care of them. You could be a stay-at-home mom. Hopefully your kids don't rip out your lashes. I have actually had a few clients text me. They're like, "Oh my God, my kid just ripped out half my lashes." And I'm just like, "Oh my God, I hope they didn't rip out your natural lashes, because then you're going to have bald spots and then I'm going to have to fix that." So, who's your ideal client? That shows up in that mood board. Again, it's a lot harder to create that mood board where it has that good aesthetic, where if somebody onlooking were like, "Oh, this is a nice brand. It's cohesive. It's about the ocean. I can tell that the client is an active woman who loves lashes." Good luck finding pictures of that. So figure out how you want people to feel when they come to your page. That feel is going to dictate what your content is. So if you want it to be a serious brand, you're probably not going to want to have cartoon images. Just saying, just saying. I had a social media manager who for a while had misunderstood what I was looking for. And I had a lot of cartoons being posted on my page, and I kept saying, "I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this." And she kept coming back saying, "Well, this is what you're asking for. This is what you're asking for." But like, "Well, no, I'm not asking for the cartoons." I kept telling her, "I'm not asking for the cartoons. I'm looking for a more serious aesthetic with an ocean theme. Enough with the cartoons." And I eventually had to let her go because she wasn't listening to what I was asking for, and I was having to go in and do things myself anyways. Later down the road, there might be a potential for somebody to take over my social media, and that might be an option that you could take as well, especially if you don't feel like you can be consistent with your social media. However, just take that'll take time. In the beginning, as a solo entrepreneur, it is hard to stay committed and consistent with doing your posting, but it's all about planning and intentionality and scheduling. When you plan out your month of what you're going to post, it's a lot easier to get it done. So what I try to do is I schedule like a day or two where all I do is content. I and that's not like the podcast. That's not like the live reels or videos that I shoot when I'm actually working on clients. That's talking about like the graphics themselves. So I have another page that is geared more towards mindset, motivation, healthy living, lifestyle, that sort of thing. That page is a lot more intentional with what I post, when I post, the coloration that I post, so that it's a nice cohesive view when somebody comes to the page. It looks nice, it's aesthetically pleasing. All of the music on there is soothing. It's more meditative, yogic, relaxing. Live, Love, and Lash is more upbeat, pop, get moving. And there's a lot of that on the page itself. Right now it's a little chaotic because I do still have some posts from the old social media manager. I have stuff on there that's not necessarily in alignment with the brand, but more in alignment with the lifestyle that I'm living. And so I've got posts of like me at the gym or me out being social at like a networking event with a friend. And while I want to portray that, the coloration's not the right color, the aesthetic isn't necessarily how I want it to look. So when you are doing and scheduling your posts, you do want to be very intentional with how you want people to view it, what you want them to feel, whether you're going to do a poll today, or whether you're going to do a live today, or whether it's going to be a reel or a story. And then you also have to think about if it's especially on Instagram, you got to remember that there's the algorithm that you're fighting against in order for people to view your stuff. So I don't know if this is still true, but last time I checked, it takes within the first 4 hours, Instagram wants to see your followers engaging in your post so that way it can actually go out and say, okay, this person's followers are engaged in their page within the first 4 hours of them posting stuff. So we're going to show it to more people, whether that be a story, your stagnant post, or a reel. Right now, reels are hot. Post more reels, post more lives. People are being more drawn to those than the stagnant posts. I have seen certain people, such as Maddie with Lightheart, her other employees like Lightheart Katie and Lightheart Andy, their pages are exploding. Follow their pages. It's lightheart.katie and lightheart.andy. And then with Andy, she also has another page for her own business, which is Lash Withdrawal. Her page is blowing up too. And I'm so proud of all of them. They're doing amazing. They're getting like 200 plus likes on their posts, which is incredible. And I love the content that they're putting out. It's supportive, it's creative, it's with Katie, I love her stuff. Her stuff is so funny. She just posted one where it's a lash tile where it's got a adhesive drop in the Lightheart lash tray, or I'm sorry, glue tray. And then she's dipping a fan and it's got like the little eyes with the big mouth. And she said, you know, I might be struggling with depression, but that doesn't mean I can't still show you this. And then it's got the music going on in the background. It's so funny. I love her stuff. She's such a great being. But that's part of her brand, is to be educational, funny, helpful, community oriented. And my stuff isn't necessarily geared towards being comical. It's more towards educational, community oriented, mindset oriented. But again, that's my brand versus her brand. So how do you want your brand to be portrayed? Do you want it to be funny? Do you want it to be educational? Do you want it to just be before and after photos and just be a portfolio? Because there are people who do that. They just have an entire page of their portfolio, and then they might have another page that's more educational and that's more funny, that's more quotes, memes, etc. So, how do you want people to see your brand? It can be a personal brand, it can be a business brand. And this is my opinion of brands. This isn't the end all be all of brands. This isn't, you have to do your brand this way. I believe that a business brand is actually a personal brand. How you want your business to be portrayed and viewed and how it feels to your clients or your audience is how you are in the moment. So if you're angsty, your content might be a little bit more angsty. If you're depressed, your content might, depending on how you want to portray it, is either super motivational to help get you out of that depressive mode, or it's in that lower frequency mode where you're talking about the negative people that are in your life, or talking about how crappy men are, or how awful relationships can be. Yeah, relationships can be awful, men can be awful. However, that's one part of relationships. Everything else can be so beautiful. Relationships are amazing. They're so crucial and important to us as human beings. And if we don't have them, it's very lonely. So, how you are and how you're showing up is how your brand ends up being portrayed, especially if you're the one who's producing the content. If it's somebody else, just ignore that. But if it's not, if it's you, if you're the one who's actually making the content, think about how you're showing up and how your brand content has been being produced. For me, I know personally, when I was in a depressive mode, I would post a meme of like, it's okay to be sad. Things aren't always going to work out the way that you want them to. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's how people will view your brand. They'll see this roller coaster effect in your content. And if you are supposed to be a leader or an influencer, you don't really want this roller coaster of content. You really want to be kind of an even keel so that people can look up to you of, wow, it doesn't matter what they're feeling. It doesn't matter what mood they're in. They're still producing this content. They're still showing up as the person that they say they want to be. I want to be that. I want to do that. Whether it be another lash artist who's following my page and saying, wow, today really sucks. I had a bunch of shitty clients. I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to be the person that I want to be. I'm still going to show up as this happy, positive, loving, kind person because that's who I want to be. And it doesn't matter if I am drained of energy. It doesn't matter if I'm upset. I'm going to do the things that I need to do to get myself out of that so that I can be there in the way that I say I'm going to be there. That's accountability. That's consistency, and that's commitment to the brand, to my business, and to who I want to be. And so many people on social media will say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then they don't do anything to actually prove that that is who they are. So sometimes with building a brand, you really have to sit with yourself. And it might take a while for you to figure out, why am I doing this? Why am I doing lashes? Why is it lashes versus nails? What is it about doing lashes that makes you want to get up every single morning, put on your happy smiley face, put on your uniform, go to work, and provide for people, hold space for people, for them to feel more beautiful about themselves. Because if you don't know and remind yourself of that why, and if your why is just to make money, get out of this industry. I don't say that to be mean. I don't say that to be disrespectful. But if your only reason to do lashes was because it's a good money maker, this is not the right industry for you. You are dealing with people's lives. You are dealing with people's moods, their mindset, how they view themselves, their self-confidence. And if you're just doing it to do it, this is not the right industry for you. You will need to sit with yourself and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Most people in the lash industry are doing this for the transformation that they see in their clients. When they walk through the door, down on themselves, maybe they lost a cat or a dog or a loved one. They just lost their job, or they're going out for a job interview, or they're going out on a date. It is our job to help them feel beautiful, to help them feel more confident about themselves, about where they're at, where they're going, what they're about to do. Because this world is lonely. This world is hard. And if it takes putting on a set of lashes for them to go from woe is me to, oh my God, I am fierce, that is the transformation that we love. That is the transformation that 90% of lash artists say, this is why I do what I do. Because I love that instant gratification for myself, but also for my clients, because they feel better. They look better. They hold themselves higher. They walk taller. Their energy changes to being more confident, to being that queen that we know they are. And it's so rewarding. And if that isn't your main reason for doing lashes, you really need to sit with yourself and think, why am I doing this? How do I want people to feel when they come to my page? Do I want them to feel welcome? Do I want them to feel comfortable? Do I want them to feel more beautiful? All of these things are great. If you're just posting your before and afters as a portfolio to get your work out there, maybe your ideal job is to go and work for a chain or for somebody else. That's great. That's amazing. That portfolio is a great way to portray that. A future employer will look at that and be able to see your portfolio. They'll be able to see your work. They'll be able to see how you take photos, because that's another piece of branding that a lot of people don't talk about, is how you take your photos. Most people, excuse me, most people have a very specific way of taking photos. I am very good at taking kind of like a slanted front angle where the client is looking at the camera. And it's usually from their right. So my left, because I'm looking down at them, their right. That's usually like my signature photo. Anytime I try to branch into being creative with my photos, it doesn't look as good. It just doesn't. You get good at something, you stick to it, and that becomes your brand. That becomes your niche. People will be able to better identify your work by your photography. So if you've got one going slanted this way, one going slanted this way, one up front, straight forward, a super close-up eye shot, and it's all just a mess on your portfolio, on your Instagram page, people are going to be drawn away from that. People want to see an aesthetically pleasing page. Maybe on one side of your page, you've got all slanting this way. Maybe on the other side of your page, they're all slanting this way. Maybe the middle of the page is all close up. However you want to do your page. That is where the intentionality comes in. If you're not wanting to post graphics, if you're not wanting to post quotes, if you're not wanting to post memes, and if you're not wanting to post educational stuff, that's okay. That's your brand. How you brand is intentional. What you post is intentional, and when you post is intentional. It's all about intention. And if you feel like this has been helpful for you and you want to learn more about how to be more intentional, about how to go about creating a more cohesive Instagram page, please reach out. I would love to help you. Let's get your page more cohesive, more aesthetically pleasing. If we need to set up a mood board, let's set up a mood board. Let's do this together because that's what I'm trying to create, a community, a supportive, educational place where every single time you come and see me or view my page, or whether you're part of my Facebook group, which if you want to be added, definitely send me a message on either Facebook or Instagram. It's live.loveandlash. Or if you want to reach out on the podcast page, it's Live, Love, and Lash Podcast. And I would love to help you with your branding. It's so important to market yourself as the person that you want to be, as the brand that you want to be, and have it all be cohesive. Let me help you start from the beginning and go to where you want to be and bridge that gap so it's a lot faster to get you the clients, to get you the audience, and to get you those followers so that way you can grow at a much faster rate. Let's get you that income, girl. Let's get you that bag. That's what the kids say these days. All right. Well, that's all I have for you today. If you liked this episode, please like it, share it, and subscribe. Every subscription matters. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.